Hey guys, welcome back again to this channel. I want to take you through a few recipes that you can actually try at your home. You can make your family these recipes. You can get to enjoy good food at the comfort of your home. So I'm going to start by making mandazis, and these mandazis, I want them extra soft and very spongy. So I'm using some icing sugar, like a cup icing sugar. It depends on the amount of mandazi that you want to make. That is the measurements you might go with. But to this specific one, this is a cup of icing sugar. Then I'll be adding 1 egg. And then after that, I'll give it a good mix. Then later, I'll add the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to write on the screen everything that I'm going to use while we continue with the video. Yeah, so I decided to use icing sugar for some reason, and also I'm using Prestige margarine because butter is very expensive, but you can use butter. Because this day I did not have butter, I decided to use Prestige margarine. The dish that I want to make, I will need some cooked oxtail. This is oxtail. And then I have some zucchini, I have fresh carrots, I have the stalks, the stems of the celery. Then I have the tender leaves of the celery plus the tender stalk, and then I have some beef broth. I have some grated tomatoes as well as chopped garlic and also the red onions. So let's begin. Also forgot to mention the spices I'm going to use. I have curry powder, I have the garlic powder, as well as the turmeric. Yeah, as well as the turmeric. So we'll begin. We'll need some oil, just a little bit. I think you just check whatever you want to make and just see the amount of oil you will need to make that kind of food. As always, I will always infuse my oil with some spices. I'm using turmeric, just a little bit. I will lower the heat. We don't want to burn the spices. Then I have some curry powder, just a little bit, let's say quarter teaspoon, and then also some garlic powder. This one will be half teaspoonful. I'm going to mix it. You know, for good flavors in your foods, just infuse the oil with some spices. If you just want some tasty food, I feel like putting the spices on top of the food while they're cooking is a bit different. The flavors come out different. Some pink Himalayan salt, just a little bit, because I cooked the meat with the salt. Then now we shall add in the chopped garlic, then the onion. I'm going to mix this until they're translucent. That is when I'll add in the tomatoes. I love sharing my best recipes or my most loved recipes. This recipe, I do it a lot, but I've never shared it on camera. I've shared the oxtail recipe a lot, but I haven't shared this one. So I hope you get to enjoy this recipe because it's going to turn out very delicious. The onions are a bit translucent. I'm going to add in the potatoes. Remember, when you want to make some dishes, don't just pour everything at once. Take your time to put one ingredient at a time. The flavors are going to be good and also different compared to when you pour everything in at once. So I'll increase the heat. Then I'm going to mix this well. Then I will be covering it and then let it cook for 10 minutes. I said it to reduce the time to 5 minutes. So this has been cooking for 5 minutes. I had a reason why. That is because I remember these onions would burn and we don't want them to burn. So next I'm going to add in the tomatoes. I want the potatoes to get the flavors of the tomatoes before I can add the rest. So at this point, I'm going to let this cook for 6 minutes at least, so that we can get rid of the raw taste of the tomatoes. As we wait for that to cook, let's break the monotony of always having white rice. So I want to make some turmeric fresh rice. I will start by adding oil in my pot. Then infuse the oil with some fresh turmeric. I grated the turmeric. See how it's changing color, so it can also be used to infuse your oil. And then I'll be adding in some fresh garlic and some fresh shallots. I want also this to be a bit translucent before I can add in the rice. It's been more than 6 minutes, so I want to add the next. That is the oxtail. Then we shall give it a good mix. Because the oxtail is already cooked, we don't want to cover it and let it cook longer. I will add the fresh ingredients, which are the zucchini, carrots, and celery. because I want the meat to get the flavors of the celery. That is why I'm adding them at this point, so that we also don't get to overcook the carrot and also don't get to overcook the zucchini. So I'll give this a good mix. I'm not covering it to get the flavors as I always do with the others. So I'll just make a hole in the middle, and then I'll add in the beef broth. This is the stock I use to cook the oxtail. So we'll spread it like this. You know, when you create a hole in the middle, the broth will just spread from the bottom evenly, so we don't have to mix everything and interfere with the flavors. Then I'll cover this and let it cook on a medium heat for like 5 minutes, and then we'll check so that we don't get to overcook the carrots and the zucchini. This other side, the onions are nicely browned, so I will add in a little bit of the Himalayan salt. I think that is too little for the rice. It depends on the amount of rice you want to use. Now I will add in the rice. I'm using the Moya Pishori. Yeah, I'm using the Moya Pishori. I found out that the Moya Pishori is sticky, a little bit sticky, but it's very, very much aromatic. I prefer using it in stews. That is why I'm now making it. I can't use it in pilau. I prefer making it as a side dish. At this point, I'm also going to mix this until it's nicely combined with everything, the onions, the tomato, the turmeric and the garlic. Then I will not add any water. I'll just cover it, let it simmer a little bit, and then I will add the water. It's been like 5 minutes, so I'm going to mix this like add the water. There was some rice stuck on the bottom, but the hot water has softened it, so there's nothing stuck at the bottom. So I'll give this a very nice mix, and then I'm going to let it bubble, and then I'll cover it. So I'll cover this with a foil. Then I will lower the heat completely, low heat. We are going to use low heat to cook this. Given that I've covered this with a foil, there is no steam escaping. That is what we need to cook this rice. At this point, I think this is fully cooked and everything has gotten the flavor of the other. This is how you would want to cook your zucchini. You don't want to overcook it until it is too tender. I don't like overcooking it because I feel like it doesn't taste good and it's so watery and very flat. So cooking it with other foods like this, it tends to get the flavors of other foods. You can also saute it, because at some point I do saute it. So I'm not adding any water here because this broth is enough and it's so thick. So we're going to add this last one. These are the leaves of the celery plus the tender stalk of the celery. I will give this a good mix, and then I will cover it, let it simmer for like 2 minutes, and then now we'll turn off the heat or the flame. We'll turn off the flame. I'm not garnishing this because at this point it has all the aromas from the celery, so you don't need to garnish and put other flavors. So it's done. I'm telling you, the carrots are the flavors of the meat, and you don't have to overcook until potatoes are mushy, in as much as they also contribute to making the broth thick, but you don't have to have them so mushy. So at this point I'm going to serve, and this honestly looks delicious. If you want to try out this recipe, if you get to try out this recipe, please let me know in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts about it, the flavors and everything, how you loved it, how you did not love it, but I'm very sure you're going to love this. At this point, the rice is done. I think it's done. So, can you see that? And as much as it is sticky rice, but it came out nice. And you see the concentration of the turmeric, the fresh turmeric. Yeah. So I'm going to serve this. I thinly sliced some shallots and then sprinkled on top, and this really came out delicious. Don't fear to experiment most of the ingredients. Go for fresh things. Like the turmeric tastes amazing, but go easy with the turmeric. Just use a little bit of it, grate it, and use a little bit of it. If you use a lot, it's not going to turn out well. The next meal that I want to share with you is something that you can fix real quick when you feel like you're overwhelmed and you don't want to cook. These are potato wedges, and this is the size that I want to go with. So I'll be spicing up these potato wedges, or rather just season them. I'll start with some salt. I'll be using some Himalayan pink salt, and also I'll be using a little bit, just a pinch of baking soda. Understand your ingredients, understand the kind of ingredients that you want to use in your food. Don't just add ingredients because somebody else is seasoning their foods using that ingredient. Just know the purpose of using certain ingredients. Like me, I use baking soda because I want to get a very nice brown color on my potatoes. That is the purpose of using the baking soda, because baking soda browns things very, very quick. So I'm adding some turmeric. I've also added some cayenne pepper for some spiciness. I'm also adding some curry powder. I will be adding some garam masala, but for the garlic and this is salt, vinegar, I'm not adding at this point. I will be adding them later. Not everything requires to be in hot oil. Some ingredients don't need such temperature, so that is why I'm not using some. I'm also adding some all-purpose flour, and then I'll be tossing this. Then I should be deep frying them on high heat, but the oil should be very hot because I want them to cook very quickly, and also we shall be avoiding burning the potatoes. So at this point my oil is done, and I'm going to start frying the potatoes. The rest of the potatoes, I'm not going to wait until these ones that are in the oil are done. I'm going to air fry them, and then we shall be mixing them later.
Jump into the car on a Friday night, I wanna drive with you. Looking for a bar in the nearest town, I've never seen a sky so blue. We don't ever play it and the night is young, it doesn't matter what we do, there ain't nobody like.
Potato wedges go well with some salads, and for my salad I'll be using some shallots. I'm using shallots because they have different flavors compared to the normal onion. If you go to the market, you are able to actually tell that this is a shallot and this is an onion. The shallots are in the shape of the egg, the oval shape, and also they are very tender and they have a lot of juices. I love them because they are a bit mild. They are a bit mild but have good flavors. I'll be using the English cucumber. I prefer the English cucumber because it's very soft compared to the local cucumber. The local cucumber has a very hard cover. I feel like the local cucumbers should just be used in drinks to infuse water, something like that. So I'm done with the salad because I mixed the shallots, the tomatoes, and also the cucumber. Those are the only things I did mix there. So the potato wedges are done. The next thing we are going to do, we are going to now add in more seasoning. That is the garlic powder and also the salt and vinegar mix. I love the salt and vinegar mix because it brings some tanginess into the potatoes. Just go easy with it. Just a pinch, a little bit will go a long way. This spice you can get in any store. I got mine from Chandarana. So I'm done. I've added some butter. yeah, I've added some butter, and then I'll give it a good mix. Then we shall be serving this and enjoy the meal. I'm telling you, this is a quick fix, something that doesn't take your time, and you shall be enjoying every bit of it. So this is time for some herbal, or even the aromas of the herbs in there. So that is why I've added the thyme, and then I'll be serving and we shall be enjoying this. I hope you get to fix this whenever you feel like you are lazy and you still want to take a good meal.
Ain't nobody like you. I could go 1,000 miles as long as I'm with you. Yeah, you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you.
The next meal that I want to share is a very healthy option that you can always go for. Whenever you are chilling at home during weekend with your family, you can opt to make this dish. This is a free-range chicken. I want to boil it in my earthen pot because this pot takes shorter time to cook it, and we need the slow cooking because we get all the flavors that comes with the slow cooking. So I'll be adding a little bit of hot water. I've added some salt. I will cover it. This did not take more than 30 minutes to cook, actually, even if it was tough, but it did cook so fast. So this is what I want to make as our next meal. Who doesn't love chapatis? We all love chapatis. For our accompaniment with the chicken, we are going to make chapati. I'm using the Atamak stone ground whole wheat flour. I used to use this flour before, but it became very expensive, so I had to just chill and go for other brands. But I went back to using it because I love the texture. I love everything about it. I'm not using any white flour for a shortcut. I'm just using only the brown flour. I'm going to add into my bowl, then add some carrots, add some salt. As I said before, I don't use sugar in my chapatis, but if you prefer sugar, you are free to go for it. And then I'll be using hot water, and then we shall knead this. So I'm done. I want to spread them out, and then we shall dry them just the way we dry the white chapatis, and then we shall cook them with oil later on. And over here I'm getting some help with the greens. These are terere, so we shall pair this with the chapos and the stew. The holiday is not going to go to a waste, yet I have these tiny little hands helping me here. I want to fry the chicken, and to begin with I'm going to add some oil into my pan, and then I'll be infusing this oil with some coriander roots. Coriander roots have amazing flavors when it comes to chicken, and also some fresh fish. I will also be adding some fresh turmeric a little bit. If you go extreme with fresh turmeric, it will tarnish the flavors of anything that you're making, so just go easy. Use a little bit, grate it, infuse it in the oil. It will give all the flavors that you need into your chicken or anything that you want to make. So I'll start with the coriander roots first, and then later I'll be adding in the fresh turmeric, some curry powder. Those are the only ingredients that I'm using to spice up my chicken, because this chicken has its natural flavors. You actually don't need a lot when it comes to free range chicken. And then the onions that I want to use are the spring onion stems, as well as the red onions. I love those two combination when it comes to this chicken. So those are the only ingredients that we need to make this chicken, as well as the grated tomato. I'll be cooking the tomatoes down for 10 minutes so that we get the raw taste of the tomatoes, and then we shall be adding in the chicken. The chicken is already done. It's in the pot. If you get a chance to try this recipe, please let me know in the comment section. So I'll be garnishing this with some coriander leaves, some spring onion leaves, and also some green pepper. Green pepper goes well with the chicken. It really tastes amazing. the flavors that chicken gets from the green pepper are just amazing. Don't cover it, just lower the heat, and that is it, and the chicken is ready.
Jump into the car on a Friday night, I wanna drive with you. Looking for a bar in the nearest town, I've never seen a sky so blue. We don't ever play it and the night is young, it doesn't matter what we do. There ain't nobody like you. Look so
I hope you loved all the recipes that I did give you. Get to try them out. Let me know in the comment section the next time we meet again. Thank you always for being here. Thank you for the support. Until next time, bye guys.